a lot of other musical styles. I did a lot of jazz and some fusion and Latin music as well. But yeah, after these 4 years, and I truly enjoyed.
At first glance, Sina Drums is living the dream. With over 1.5 million YouTube subscribers, drum covers that regularly rack up millions of views, and a fan base spread across every continent, she appears to be one of those rare musical prodigies who cracked the YouTube code. But behind the rhythm and viral fame lies a story far more complicated, one that most fans never get to see. Because while her drumming is known for its perfect timing and precision, the trajectory of her career has been anything but predictable. The truth is, Sina's story isn't about overnight success, fame, or fortune. It's about passion versus platform, creativity under pressure, and the emotional cost of turning music into content. How did someone with global reach and industry recognition find herself battling for sustainability in a system that favors quantity over artistry? Why did her most popular videos, those that brought her fame, end up generating very little income? And what does it really take to survive as a YouTube musician in 2024? The answers are as sobering as they are inspiring. Sina Drums might be a name the internet knows well, but what you're about to discover is the untold journey behind the beat. And it starts in a small German town with a little girl born into a world of sound. Long before the internet knew her as a drumming sensation, Sina was just a little girl growing up in Marburg, Germany, surrounded by instruments and rhythm. Born on May 6, 1999, to a deeply musical family, her upbringing was infused with harmony and stage lights. Her mother, a classically trained pianist and singer, filled the home with melodies, while her father, an active touring musician, introduced her to the realities of the stage. Not many children grow up tagging along to band rehearsals and live shows. But Sina did, following her father's group, the Silver Beatles, as they played gigs around Europe. This early exposure to live performance didn't just give her a love of music. It gave her a behind-the-scenes look at the discipline and grind required to make it in the industry. By age 6, she was already helping her father with his educational music project, teaching children English through song. By 10, she was doing background vocals for rock-inspired nursery rhymes, unknowingly laying the groundwork for what would later become her life's calling. The drums hadn't entered her life yet, but the rhythm was already deeply embedded. Unlike many prodigies who discover their gifts in isolation, Sina was nurtured in a home where creativity wasn't just encouraged, it was expected. But what happened next was something no one, not even her musician father, could have predicted. In 2010, her father bought a drum kit, not for her, but for his own studio work. At the time, Sina wasn't a drummer. She had never even seriously considered it. But something about that kit called to her, and with quiet determination, she decided to give it a try. There was no grand announcement or viral video, just hours of practice, trial, and error in the privacy of a home studio. Within a year, she had improved so much that she recorded drums for her first commercial album alongside her father. Then came the pivotal moment. In 2013, at just 14 years old, Sina uploaded her first YouTube video. It was a cover of Dream Theater's complex piece, Metropolis Part 1, filmed after only 6 months of drumming. It wasn't meant to go viral. In fact, she didn't expect much at all. But slowly, views began to climb. Comments from strangers rolled in. A tiny spark had been lit, and it would soon ignite a fire that would change her life. The quiet girl from Germany with no formal drum training was beginning to build a global audience. Unlike many internet stars who gained traction overnight with gimmicks or clickbait, Sina's rise was steady, earned, and rooted in raw talent. But the pressure of performance and growth was already beginning to build. What had started as a creative experiment was turning into a public career, and that meant her next steps would be under the watchful eyes of millions. By the time Sina turned 17, she had already cemented her place in the drumming world. But one video in particular sent her popularity into overdrive. Her cover of Dire Straits' Sultans of Swing. It became the most viewed drum cover on all of YouTube, racking up more than 70 million views. For many, that level of viral attention might signal the beginning of a fortune. But for Sina, it was a confusing and frustrating turning point. While the world celebrated her talent, the reality behind the scenes was much more complex. The video brought visibility, yes, but not wealth. Her name was being shared in forums and press articles. Fans begged for collaborations, but the income didn't match the exposure. For the first time, Sina began to understand the paradox of platform fame. The illusion of success doesn't always translate to financial security. It was a moment of both triumph and reckoning. She had proven to the world she was one of the best young drummers alive. But the system was built in a way that rewarded popularity and views, not value and compensation. And even worse, that very success would become a trap, one she'd spend years trying to escape from. The cold truth about YouTube's music ecosystem hit Sina hard. When you cover famous songs, you don't get paid for the views. All the ad revenue from her most viral videos, the ones millions watched and shared, went directly to the original rights holders. Sina, the one who practiced, recorded, edited, and uploaded, was left with a fraction of what her influence deserved. For every hit cover, the emotional reward was met with a financial letdown. Determined not to remain at the mercy of the copyright system, Sina pivoted toward original content. She poured her energy into crafting her own songs, hoping that with ownership would come sustainability. But the harsh reality was that original compositions, no matter how skillful, didn't attract the same views as popular covers. Fans clicked on what they recognized, and the algorithm rewarded familiarity over creativity. It was a soul-crushing lesson for any artist. In choosing artistic integrity, she risked losing the very visibility that made her relevant. The decision to go original was a courageous stand, but it came with sacrifice. And while it protected her income, it tested her confidence. She had built an empire on other people's music. Now she had to see if she could rebuild it with her own. Refusing to give up, Sina took a bold leap in 2020. She launched She Might, a collaborative music project that invited musicians from across the globe to co-create original pieces together. It was more than just a creative outlet. It was a rebellion against the platform's limitations. Through She Might, Sina was no longer just a drummer or YouTuber. She became a curator of global talent, a producer of fresh voices, and a leader in a movement to bring artistic independence back into focus. She used Patreon to stay directly connected to fans, allowing them to support her without relying on ad revenue or copyright-controlled platforms. It was a masterstroke in community-driven sustainability. She gave her audience not just videos, but value, exclusive drum content, behind-the-scenes material, and personal engagement. It wasn't easy. Building an original brand in a world addicted to covers is like swimming upstream with weights tied to your legs. But Sina did it with poise and clarity. Her decision to prioritize creative freedom over viral reach didn't just set her apart. It preserved her soul. And as more artists began to face the same issues, Sina's model became a beacon for what's possible when you refuse to let the system define your worth. If you thought Sina's income came from YouTube ads, think again. With copyright claims devouring revenue from her viral drum covers, Sina had no choice but to diversify. And what she built behind the scenes is nothing short of impressive. She transformed herself into a one-woman music enterprise. Through Patreon, she receives direct monthly support from fans, offering them behind-the-scenes footage, early access content, and personal messages in return. This bypasses YouTube's monetization pitfalls and ensures a more stable income. But she didn't stop there. Sina also creates sponsored content. often subtle, brand-aligned collaborations that blend into her videos naturally. She sells digital music and physical merchandise, from albums and drum tabs to shirts and posters. Then there are live performances and workshops, whether through private sessions, drumming camps, or virtual meetups, where she shares not just her techniques, but her story. She's also tapped into advertising partnerships outside of YouTube's automated ad system, negotiating directly with companies that align with her brand. Every part of her public presence, from the lighting in her studio to the exact way her videos are edited, serves a purpose: to build a trustworthy, professional image that companies and fans alike are proud to support. Sina isn't rich by viral video standards, but she's doing something much harder: building a sustainable music career in a system designed to burn artists out. And through relentless adaptation and creative independence, she's managed to keep both her drums and her dignity intact. But behind the bright lights and high-energy drum solos lies a reality Sina rarely talks about. And when she does, it's easy to miss. Because being an internet creator, especially in the music world, comes with a unique kind of pressure. Every upload is a gamble. Every week without a new video feels like a step backward. The algorithm doesn't care if you're tired, uninspired, or dealing with personal issues. It only rewards consistency. And for someone like Sina, whose videos take hours of practice, setup, recording, and editing, the grind can feel never-ending. Add to that the emotional toll of creating content that might be demonetized, flagged, or buried by YouTube's ever-changing rules, and you begin to understand the hidden side of her success. Sina has spoken about the psychological impact of this pressure. The expectation to be perfect, to entertain, to innovate, to please both fans and sponsors, all without burning out. And let's not forget the gender dynamics at play in a male-dominated drumming world. Sina constantly has to prove herself, not just through skill but through consistency and resilience. She doesn't just drum, she defends her right to be taken seriously, to be seen as more than a YouTube novelty. The weight of being a female musician on a global stage, coupled with the unpredictable nature of content monetization, has made Sina's journey not just remarkable, but nearly impossible by conventional standards. And yet, she keeps going. Not because it's easy, but because she refuses to be defined by anything but her own beat. In 2024, Sina is no longer just a viral sensation or a cover artist. She's a musical entrepreneur with a legacy in the making. While the general public might still associate her with drum covers of rock classics, her latest work is far more experimental and personal. She's been diving deeper into original compositions, exploring fusion genres, electronic textures, and cinematic soundscapes. Her YouTube channel, once dominated by requests from fans to cover this or cover that, now features collaborative projects, thematic content, and long-form musical explorations that push the boundaries of what drum-centered content can be. She's also become something of a mentor figure, quietly encouraging young drummers and content creators to focus on passion over algorithm, quality over quantity. Sina's newer ventures include educational programs, music production, mentorships, and even collaborations with schools and cultural organizations to promote music education through digital platforms. She's also been involved in conversations about fair creator compensation and ethical content ownership, lending her voice to a growing movement of artists pushing back against exploitative digital models. In interviews, she no longer chases virality or metrics. She talks about longevity, mental health, and legacy. Sina is carving out a space that's less about clicks and more about connection. And in doing so, she's becoming a different kind of influencer, the kind that inspires not through trends but through integrity. Her audience may not be growing at the exponential pace it once did, but those who remain are deeply loyal. And more importantly, they see her for who she really is, an artist first and a creator second. Sina Drums is a name that once simply meant viral drum covers and jaw-dropping performances. But look closer, and you'll see something much more powerful. A story about what it means to be an artist in the digital age. Her journey is proof that talent alone isn't enough, and neither is fame. To survive in this world, you need adaptability, self-awareness, and the courage to walk away from what's popular to pursue what's meaningful. Sina could have stayed in the lane of easy views and algorithm-friendly content, but she chose to take the harder path. She built a diversified income strategy, launched global projects, mentored young artists, and redefined what success looks like on her own terms. And in a world where social media often celebrates the illusion of perfection, Sina has been remarkably honest about her flaws, her fears, and her fight to stay true to herself. That honesty is rare, and it's why her story resonates far beyond the world of drumming. It's a story for anyone who's ever felt the pressure to perform, the frustration of being misunderstood, or the temptation to give up when the spotlight dims. Sina Drums didn't just keep going, she evolved. She proved that passion, when paired with purpose, can survive anything, even the algorithms. So the next time you watch one of her videos, remember, what you're seeing isn't just a performance. It's a battle won, a compromise resisted, and a beat that continues in defiance of everything that tried to silence it.